And I will already now tell you that I have a rather long statement because we have taken so many important decisions today, so now you're prepared. The European asylum system is in many ways dysfunctional. On the one hand, we have a very high influx of irregular migrants and our countries are under pressure. Thousands are drowning in the Mediterranean or are abused along the migratory routes while human smugglers earn fortunes. About half of all first-instance asylum decisions in the EU are rejections. This shows that the current system creates unhealthy incentive structures and a strong pull factor, which are hard to break. On the other hand, we still don't have a fully effective return system. This challenges the social cohesion as well as the security situation in our societies. For many years, Denmark has taken a lead in Europe in exploring new and innovative solutions. European sentiment has changed tremendously over the past few years. It has done so because we, the Member States and the European Commission, have accepted the responsibility to address these issues. We must deliver on this for the people of Europe. The question is not for or against migration. Migration is part of human history and will continue to be so. The question is how we manage migration in a fair and humane way. Migration has been at the top of the agenda for the Danish presidency, and we have had high ambitions. Today, we are taking decisive steps to solve the problems our continent faces. I'm happy and relieved that we succeeded, and we have taken steps in close collaboration with the Commission and our Commissioner, Magnus Brunner. And I would like to say to you, Magnus, thank you very much. And thank you also for the close collaboration between the two of us during the presidency. I've really appreciated your big efforts and energy and ambitions on this important work. Let me explain what we have agreed upon in 4 very important headlines. First of all, since 2019, Denmark has been advocating for agreements with safe third countries to move asylum processing outside the EU. We have increasingly seen that other member states are also interested in the possibility to conclude agreements or arrangements with third countries to facilitate asylum processing outside the EU. Current EU rules have created some legal obstacles for this ambition. It has been a key priority for me and the Danish presidency to overcome these obstacles. And today I'm very happy to announce that we have agreed on an amendment of the concept of a safe third country, which will render the connection requirement optional and allow member states to make agreements or arrangements with safe countries outside the EU. This represents an important opportunity for the EU to deepen cooperation and responsibility sharing with partner countries. Such agreements can also help remove the incentives for people to embark on the dangerous journeys towards Europe, hopefully leading to a decrease in irregular migration reaching our shores. Today's agreement means that we are closer to realizing safe third country arrangements. This marks a significant step forward for the EU asylum policy. Secondly, to gain control of the migration to the EU is one important pillar. But another important pillar is to make sure that the migrants with no right to stay in the EU actually are returned. 3 in 4 irregular migrants who have been issued a return decision in the EU continue to stay here instead of returning home. I believe this is a completely unacceptable situation, and it threatens not only the security of our union, but also the social cohesion and the credibility of the European institutions in the eyes of the European citizens. Today, we have also agreed on a new EU return regulation, equipping the Union and Member States with the necessary tools to effectively return third country nationals with no right to stay. It includes obligations for legally staying third country nationals to cooperate with authorities on their return and the possibility of longer entry bans and detention periods. It also includes a possibility for EU member states to cooperate with countries outside the EU on return hubs. I'm delighted that we, with today's agreement, will make it possible for both the European Union and one or more member states to make an arrangement or agreement with the third country on return hubs. Furthermore, a new EU return order will facilitate the exchange of information necessary to recognize other member states' return decision. I believe the new set of tools can facilitate the return from the EU I believe the new set of tools can facilitate the return from the EU of those who have no right to be here, as well as contribute to deter irregular migration and discourage unauthorized secondary movements. Thirdly, each year tens of thousands arrive to Europe and apply for asylum even though they depart from safe countries. Safe countries where there is generally no risk of persecution. Today we have also agreed on the first ever EU list of safe countries of origin, an important milestone for the EU's asylum policy. Last year, more than 43,000 from Bangladesh applied for asylum in the EU, a very low percentage, about 4% of all asylum applications to the EU actually needed protection. Bangladesh is one of the countries on the list of safe countries of origin, and the list will help us to create faster and more efficient asylum processing so that we have a better opportunity to return migrants without a need for protection. Finally, last year we agreed on the Pact on Migration and Asylum. As a whole, the pact will reduce illegal migration to the EU and reduce secondary movements within the EU. Today we have reached an agreement on the so-called solidarity pool, which is part of the pact and a tool to help member states under the most pressure. I know many countries have made compromises, and I would like to acknowledge and thank my colleagues for their collaboration. Today we've stood together and agreed on new solutions to tackle the challenges I mentioned in the beginning. A very high influx of irregular migrants and a broken return system, where the majority of migrants who have been issued a return decision in the EU actually are staying in Europe. Today also marks my final day as chair for the Justice and Home Affairs Council. I'm very proud of our results during the Danish presidency, and for many years we've been fighting for new solutions to remove the incentives to embark on dangerous journeys to the EU and put an end to the irregular arrivals to the EU. Today we have taken decisive steps towards gaining control of the migration to the EU. Thank you to my colleagues from the member states, and thank you again, Magnus. Without you, today's result wouldn't have been possible. Thank you, Magnus.